Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back from the OPTC video, and in today's video we're over here on the Japanese side of the game with the release of the new Kizuna Rebecca. And in today's video we will be doing a playthrough with the teams that I did showcase in my preparation video. So we are going to be testing the two teams that I did have for you guys, the ones with Viola and the ones without Viola, and then I'm going to be showcasing two of the one team completes all. Now, I do have a, difference. I have tweaked my team a little bit, just to make it a little bit quicker, but I will talk about that when we get there. The first team is the versus Ace and Yamato team. So, this particular team is basically built for you guys just to sort of clap the content, easy peasy. You have a lot of damage output, but I would recommend utilizing something like the VV support on Ace. All of those supports to get around Bind, Despair, all that sort of stuff isn't actually essential. As long as you put Law on the right-hand side, you will be able to get around the Bind, the Despair, and the Paralysis. You do have the Special Bind removal with both Bon Clay and Lucy. You have an attack boost with Lucy. You have defense up and damage reduction removal with the Straw Hat Pirates. You also have color affinity with the Straw Hat Pirates. Yamato's a chain booster. You have a chain lock at 2.5 and orb boost with Ace. This whole team it literally has everything you need, and the amount of damage output you shouldn't struggle with. So for this particular run, I have just jumped into one of them. I have jumped into the one where I need to use the Straw Hat special, so we won't have that amazing color affinity on the end. But nevertheless, we are still using the VV support, or you can still use the VV support, sorry, and that way you can actually get color affinity on the stage where, like this particular run, where you need to use the special of the Straw Hat. Or actually, no, Bon Clay. Bon Clay actually gives color affinity. Never mind. Bon Clay is actually a color affinity to Free Spirit, and you will be in good stead. Ace can get around the special reverse as well, and Bon Clay can actually get around the resilience. So, as I mentioned, this particular team literally has everything. It doesn't need too much help. The only thing it doesn't have is color affinity on two of the stages, but with the amount of damage output that you actually will have, you should be fine. I don't see this team having any issues moving forward. You can easily replace Law with anyone that can sort of remove Paralysis if you really want to keep the supports. You've got Corazon for Law, which obviously you won't have if you replace Law, right? You have the Koala to remove 2 turns of Blind and Despair. You can use something like Bardo for Paralysis removal on the Straw Hat Pirates. So you have a lot of options when it comes to support for this team. I would highly recommend using something to give Ace an Orb. But for the one where you get Block Orbs and Unfavorable Orbs, Lucy's going to rotate that. Straw Hat's going to rotate. This is the only one where you actually don't have that. But I guess you could easily farm for his versatility as well. The stages don't have full immunity. I think 2 of them actually do. So you can actually get the versatility of Ace as well. But that is the one team claps all. Let's move on to the first variation now with against the side variation. Alright, so for the side variation, we are utilizing a Perona with Viola team. This particular team does use Viola on the team, and I did actually find a way to actually get the Toy Soldier on this team. He can actually remove Bind, which is great, as long as you have him on the right-hand side, and with the support of Kuma, you can actually get around the Despair after level 30 on your Perona. So this team only really works if you have your Perona. Obviously, it's only going to work if you, have Perona, because you have 2 Violas, right? You can easily bring a friend Perona to make this stage a little bit easier, but you guys will see that in the next team anyway. So we are just sort of going to make our way through the first stage, take out the turtles. You do have a lot of color affinity. This whole team actually does have color affinity. This whole team is actually Free Spirit and Cerebral as well. So it all does work very nicely under Viola as a friend captain, being a 5x captain to those 2 classes. On the Bonnie stage, she's going to special bind our right-hand side. This is where we're just going to use one of our Viola specials, purely because we don't need to. That way we get an orb boost and we can easily take this stage out. And that way we can move on to the next stage against Rebecca herself. Now, against Rebecca, she has full immunity, blow-away immunity, and the Grey Shield. She gives us normal attacks only. And she gives us a full board of unfavorable slots and binds our left-hand side. Now, because I slapped the Toy Soldier on this team, I didn't actually bring away... I didn't max my sockets, but this is early stage. If you do have max sockets, that 4 turns of blind will be absolutely hunky-dory. For me, I'm just going to have to stall a turn. Not a big issue, but with Perona as our captain, she can actually give us a conditional boost against the negative effect. Her super typing goes through full immunity, and although it's 10 turns only on one stage, it works really, really nicely as you actually get through full immunity, which is really, really sweet. You can then use her special to rotate the unfavorable orbs, as well as... give yourself a chain lock as well as a conditional boost. We have an attack boost with Reiju, as the only character that won't be getting an attack boost is the Toy Soldier, but that's fine because we can just start the chain with the Toy Soldier. We have color affinity with Halloween Shanks. Halloween Shanks is actually boosted as well, but just be mindful that he won't give color affinity to Perona. And we are going to have an orb boost with the Viola as well. So this team's going to work fairly nicely. I don't see it's going to have too many issues. It will have issues later on down the track. Obviously, all teams do when it comes to Kizuna, but it'll work fine for now. So let's move on to the team that doesn't use Viola. Alright, so moving on to the next team, we are using Halloween Lore with a friend Perona. So this team works really, really well if you don't have Perona herself. But if you do have Perona with the support of Kuma, you can obviously use that same strat you saw in the first team. That way you can get around the Despair. But utilizing Halloween Lore is another great way to get around the Despair, as you just won't need to worry about it then. I do have the Onigashima Luffy on this particular team to remove some special bind and just make stage 2 a little bit easier, as this particular team like literally has everything you need. But if you have your own Perona, you could easily run double Perona, drop Lore onto the team, and that way you can actually just get a higher captain ability. With Perona, you get like a 5.2 times captain, and it's going to work a little bit nicer as she's also boosted. I'm pretty sure Halloween Lore is actually boosted as well. And then we've just got Pudding on this team because Pudding's just boosted as well. She is getting her 6+ when it comes to this content as well. What you can actually do here is you can actually use the Marco special to get around the special blind, and that way you can use the Lore special as well. You can put Lore where Onigashima Luffy is, and you can just do it that way. But remember, after stage 30, you will get more special bind. So I'm not exactly 100% sure what that looks like. But if you do use the Marco special there, you can always use the Pudding special to actually stockpile the color affinity. And that should work hunky-dory too. Once we hit the final stage, we come up against Rebecca, who's going to give us blind on the left-hand side, a full board of unfavorable orbs, and she has full immunity basically to everything. This is where the supports of Halloween Ace and Corazon are really, really nice, because we can actually get around the bind there. But once you get the limit break, or sorry, the 6+ of Pudding, you can actually get around 2 turns of bind, and then with the Corazon support, you will be hunky-dory there as well. We're going to use Pudding, we're going to use the super typing of Perona to get the conditional. We have a special to get a chain lock and a conditional boost. We have a 2.5 times orb boost with Lore. We have a 2.5 times attack boost with Whitebeard. We have a base stat boost, and we have a massive color affinity boost. So this team, as you can see, it's not going to struggle for damage, and it's probably what I'm going to start looking at using when the damage of my other team starts to fall a little bit short. But let's move on to the next color variation now, and let's take a look at the quick teams against the strength variation. Alright, so the big old Quailin team against the strength variation utilizes double Viola with a captain Boa. So this is the team, those are the supports. Let's jump in. Now, once you hit level 30, you do get Threshold. But until then, you don't actually need Black Maria. You could probably replace Black Maria with another like strong color affinity boost. And that way you could just use the Bobbin special. Or you can just keep Black Maria, use the Bobbin special on stage 2, and then use the Black Maria special on the final stage to give yourself color affinity. But just be mindful, she only does it for driven and cerebral characters. So stuff like your Luffy and your Boa won't actually get that color affinity boost. So there is that. So this particular team was designed to take on stage 30+, so that's sort of what we're rocking with. Once we hit stage 2, we come up against Karasu. He has 2 of his ghost friends, and he has 4 turns of damage reduction. So this is where you can use Bobbins, but I bought Black Maria here just for level 30+. We can use one of our Viola specials as well to give ourselves an orb boost, and then we can just take out this stage easy peasy, no issues whatsoever. As long as you have an orb on like one of your Violas, you're gonna do like so much damage to Karasu, and then you can just take it out easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's move on to Rebecca now against Rebecca. She has basically full immunity to everything except not everything. She's not immune to the double damage debuff, so you could probably slide Kaido on here somewhere, or you could even use like double Kaido captain to get around the threshold. I'm not 100% sure how many turns that threshold is gonna be, but if you could slide away or get away that Kaido could be on this team, either running as like a friend captain or something like that, that should actually work fine as well. We have an orb boost with Viola, we have an attack boost with Luffy, with a base stat boost with Boa, and we have a chain lock with Boa as well. And we're just going to do so much damage to Viola that this team's not going to struggle either. So that's going to wrap up the Wayland quick team, or against the strength variation I should say. Let's move on to the non-Viola team now. Alright, so the next team utilizes Sabo Ace with a friend Boa. Now, you can't actually use your own Boa for this particular team because we do have the Kuja Pirates. Now, Kuja Pirates are another alternative to something like Black Maria. They're free to play, so I thought that I would include them in here as well. Bobbins is here once again because he's just an absolute weapon. You guys know how good Bobbins is, but you could easily replace him with another Threshold remover, or you could replace the Kuja Pirates with another Threshold user, and then use Bobbins to get around the damage reduction. But the way this team particularly operates is it can get around the special bind with the Ace Captain. So once you hit this Karasu stage, you can actually switch. Now, what you can do, because the final stage is not immune to full poison, you can actually use the double special of what's his name? You can use the double special of Magellan on the final stage if you want to. Get the color affinity boost, get the 2.5 times attack boost. Use the support of Hannibal on this particular team to get the conditional boost, and then you can actually replace Luffy with something like Kaido for the double damage. That should actually output a little bit more, and that way you've pretty much got everything covered, as once you hit this final stage against Rebecca, she doesn't have full immunity, which actually gives you access to Kaido, or gives you something like access to Yamato. That's another option as well. You can bring 6+ Yamato. She is going to give you a chain boost mechanic and a chain manipulate, a multiplier mechanic, but she's also going to give you Wano orbs and a 1.75 times extra damage debuff. So there's that. She's a free spirit unit as well, so she's actually going to get a lot of damage. I don't know what happened there, apologies. She's actually going to get a lot of damage on herself as well, but she's not going to have color affinity, so just be mindful of that. She's going to give it, like, she's going to have a matching orb and stuff, so I would highly recommend starting with her for the chain. But you will lose a little bit of damage from Luffy, but that 0.75 is just going to give you a little bit more. If you don't bring a Boa captain, like a Boa friend captain, you could even use something like Boa on the team and then like try and implement a way to get lore on the team with some chain locking shenanigans. But once you hit level 30, you got to remember that threshold's going to be there, and it's going to make your life a little bit more tricky. But that was the big old damage team, or the non-Viola team against strength variation. Let's move on to the last variation now, and let's take a look at the strength teams. Alright, so moving on to the final variation, we come up against the Dex variation of Rebecca, and for Dex, you want to bring predominantly strength units. Now, I would highly recommend just replacing Reiju on this team with the Toy Soldier. They both remove defense up, and that's basically what they're on the team for, and that way you can actually just get more ticket growth. If you have something like Bon Clay as well, he's going to be a better color affinity booster for your team instead of Kuma, but once you hit level 30, you got to remember that there's going to be paralysis as well. So Toy Soldier's going to give you more points, just directly replace Reiju, but she's another option if you don't want to farm up that free-to-play unit for whatever reason. And you can just replace Kuma with any other color affinity booster. I just really wanted to include Kuma because, like, Legend Kuma he doesn't see play, so, like, I wanted to include him somewhere that I could include play for him. But on stage 2 against Morley, he has the defense up. We're going to remove that with the Toy Soldier or the Reiju special. And then we're just going to sort of attack our way through. Now, Kuma's not getting boosted under Viola. That's why I would highly recommend replacing him. But, like I said, I just wanted to include him in a video because, like, poor old Kuma, he just, like, he not even rare recruit tier. He just dookie. But, nevertheless, it's Kuma. And I like Kuma, so let's give him some screen time. On the final stage against Rebecca, she has 5 turns of resilience. She's immune to everything, basically. And she gives us normal attacks only. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Luffy special. Luffy's going to give us free spirit characters and fighters an attack boost, which is really, really nice because he also gives a orb to Ace. Ace is then going to give us a chain lock, an orb boost. We can get color affinity with Kuma, and then we can actually just take out this particular stage, as well as removing the resilience with Viola. But as I mentioned, if you have the Kizuna Bon Clay, it's another really, really good option for this particular team. Or you can use something like the Kizuna rare recruit Kinemon to give yourself a chain boost as well over the Luffy, as he removes paralysis as well. So that was the Dex variation with Viola. Let's move on to the non-Viola team now. Alright, so the non-Viola team looks a little bit like this, and we are centering it around free spirit characters against the Dex variation of Rebecca. So we are using a friend Yamato, that way that we just basically have everything on this particular team now. Remember, there is paralysis after level 30, so that's where the lore comes into play. But if you don't have the lore, you can just easily replace him with literally any other character that can remove paralysis. If you can give him like a color affinity boost as well, that's actually going to help you out. And if you don't have the Bon Clay, you just want to look at bringing someone to remove the resilience. Someone that gives you end of turn damage can work really, really nicely here. Something like Arena Shinobu would be a great option. But remember, Arena Shinobu is actually going to give you like a smaller attack boost, and that's going to sort of wipe out Rogers. So just be mindful of that as well. Onto the stage against Morley here, we are using the Usopp special. Again, just replace Usopp with the Toy Soldier for the early stages. That way you can actually just get some more tickets. But this particular team is built around damage, and obviously the Usopp is going to have a lot more damage output. But anyone that is defense up there is actually going to work absolutely hunky-dory. Moving on to Rebecca now. She is immune to everything, and she has a silver shield. She is going to roll our specials back and give us the orb, like the special lock, and that's where Ace is like so good because he can just get around that. But the Viola is really great too because you can just give yourself cooldowns, and that's going to work really nicely. On stage 30, you get 5 turns of paralysis, I'm assuming, so Laws can remove that. We get around the resilience, we get color affinity with Bon Clay, we have an attack boost with Roger, we have an orb boost with Ace, we have Wano orbs with Yamato, we have a chain boost with Yamato, we have a chain, like, with his team literally just has everything, and we start on something like a 5.3 times chain, I'm pretty sure, something like that. If we have a look at like Yamato hitting here, yeah, 5.1, and then it goes up to 5.43. So this particular team is going to have so much damage. It's going to work really, really well for a long time. But the team that I'm actually using, for all variations, looks a little bit like this. So the final team in the video looks a little bit like this. Now, I have changed this team. I've just basically taken all of those recovery supports off, and I've just put a whole bunch of stat boosters. I was trying to actually get this team to get back to full HP on the, which one was it? The strength variation. But unfortunately, I was just shy of the damage, like just shy of getting the HP, which kind of sucked. But look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I would replace a little behind with something like the, what's it called? The Nostra Castella V2, as this particular team does function well there. It does use all the boosters, so it has Viola and it has the Toy Soldier. It works really nicely because once we hit stage 2, we can just use the Toki special. Toki, I'm always using on my 2 captains, except for the strength stage, but most of the time I'm just using it on my 2 captains just so I just don't stuff up and get it, like the despair doesn't cuck me. But you can easily use something like Rayleigh support on your Straw Hat Pirates. You can easily use something like the Bardo support to get around paralysis. You have something like the Raizo support for Toki, Momo, and Hiyori, as well as the Conjurer support to get around more blind and despair. So this particular team actually works very, very well. It gets around everything basically. There's defense up removal with the Toy Soldier. There's damage reduction removal with the Straw Hat Pirates. We have the immunity to the blind and the despair with Toki, getting the 3.5 times attack. We can get around the bind with the Toy Soldier as well. We have an attack boost with the Straw Hat Pirates. We have an orb boost with Viola and resilience removal with Viola. We can roll our specials forward with Viola and the super typing of the Straw Hats. Carousel removes the paralysis, the threshold, the block orbs. Like, this team's going to do it all, and it's going to work for quite a while. For how long, I'm not 100% sure, but until that point, that's when I'm going to revolt to my other teams. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit that big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Lates!